Bob Johnson will be speaking from the special occasion speeches. His speech time, Jay, is 5 to 7 minutes. His project is Speaking in Praise. His speech title is In Praise of My Mother. One person in Bob's life who has always been around is Bob's mother. She has been there in the good times and has been there when Bob may not have been so good. Bob Johnson, in praise of my mother, Bob Johnson.
In praise of my mother, the strong-willed matriarch of the family. She was giving and caring, yet firm at the same time. And I'll tell you why. She was born in a small town, Bellows Falls, Vermont, in 1932. As a baby and as a young toddler, she was named Elizabeth Bowles, but as a baby and young toddler, she was nicknamed Betty Bowles. Even at this time, my life was hung in the balance. As a baby, my mother got sick. And there was talk of going to the doctor, but there was no money and no insurance. Even though my grandfather was a young lawyer, after the Great Depression, prosperity had not reached this small Vermont town. At one time, when my grandmother and my great-grandmother were standing vigil over the sick baby, my grandfather and his brother had to literally sneak the baby out of the house, brought her to the hospital. The prognosis was not good. The doctor said that she was going to have an operation. And my grandfather explained the financial situation, which was not good. And the doctor said, that's okay, pay me when you can. Try that nowadays. The result of the operation, my mother was supposed to have been a twin, but her body absorbed that of the other. And they removed bits of bone and hair along with one of her ovaries. That was a close call for my brothers and me. She grew up a pretty normal life. She was the oldest of three. She had two younger brothers, one of whom may have been a little mischievous. She played the clarinet and was in the high school marching band. And during World War II, she did her part in contributing to the war effort. She cut and donated her long, beautiful brown hair. This was made into bomb sights. You've heard of the crosshairs? After high school, she went to nursing school. And there she met a cute blonde boy in pharmacy school. That was my dad. After nursing school, they married, and my father was stationed at Fort Evans, Massachusetts, and my mother worked in a nearby hospital. One day there was a hospital emergency. A young boy with polio had to be transported to Boston. The problem? Nobody knew how to operate an iron lung, a brand new medical device. Well, that is everybody except for one young nurse fresh out of nursing school, my mother. The transport was successful. As I was growing up, my mother continued with her nursing practice. She started a private practice where she had several patients, one of whom referred to her as Sarge. From there, she worked part-time for a pediatric doctor. And then that went into a full-time job. We were a one-car family at that time. Well, not that time, the whole time. So that means my mother had to drive my father to work, pick him up, do the shopping, and carry 3 children to and from different doctor and dental appointments. She always had time for her children. Somehow, she would bring us to swim lessons. She would take us to the beach up at Lake Ontario. She would drive me to my morning swim practices or afternoon swim practices, and had time to come to my swim meets. She was also somewhat strict. Remember, my grandfather was a lawyer, and he was also a judge. So how would you like to be raised by the judge's daughter? Think about that one. She volunteered for the annual church chicken barbecue. She was on the committee for other assorted church dinners. And she planned and catered church funerals. She was also on the town Christmas Bureau for many, many years. And at one time, she was nominated for town